To start the install, let's go ahead and lower the driver's side window. We're going to need to remove the underside trim piece here. We're going to push the side mirror all the way back. It'll reveal a lip right here, and we're going to place our fingers right there. And there'll also be a feature right here, which you can actually place our thumb to help us get some leverage. So we can do this, and then pull straight down, and it'll just pop right off like that. So in your kit, there's going to be two baggies, one with a D on it and one with a P on it. The one we're going to be using for this one is going to be the D bag. You're also going to need your hardware baggie, which is going to contain 2 Allen keys and 6 bolts. Take your clip for the driver's side. There'll be a notch up here and opening right here. It'll slot in just like that. Press in. Now from the hardware baggie, you'll need a small Allen key as well as 1 small bolt. The bolt is going to be here mainly to do one thing: prevent the clip from backing out over time. So you don't need it really tight, you just need it finger tight, and that's more than enough, like that. We're going to install this clip next. It's going to go right here. We'll require you to move the side mirror all the way forward, and it will be a bit of a tight fit, but it will still fit just the same. So we're going to go ahead and remove this trim piece by placing our fingers up here and one up here, pulling it towards us, and it should pop right off because there are 3 tabs here, here, and here that are hooked onto the actual trim piece. You gotta be careful when you're removing these. I would recommend using a pair of pliers to grab them like this and then gently pull them out to reinstall them onto the trim piece. Next, we're gonna need to remove this tab here. All you need to do is get a pointy object, press the center of it like that. You'll hear a click, then grab the corner of the trim while resting your finger on the head of it, and then pull back a little bit. You'll feel it release, and that's it. We're going to need to remove this trim piece here, so we're going to have to get a plastic pry tool. There's a slit right there, which you can put this right in between and then pry it outward like that. And it should open up, revealing underneath a screw. Now in the inner door handle area, there's going to be like this felt piece. Go ahead and pry that up and remove it, revealing another bolt. Now go ahead and get a Phillips screwdriver and remove the bolts here and here that we just revealed. You start off by taking your pry tool. There's a gap right there on the edge. Press it down into it and then just work your way down. And you'll hear a click and then another click. And then you'll have enough room to get your fingers back here, where you'll then, well, I guess, drop the tool and then open it up by just pulling it towards you like this. That's 1. That's 2, 3, and 4. Keep pulling it here. And now all of these basically have released. You'll move to the side here, pop that off, and there should be 1 more, and it should now be hanging freely at this point. Make sure you have something like a chair so it doesn't end up just dropping down a bit, but it is hanging by this piece up here at this time, which all you need to do to remove it is to lift it up and pull it towards you, just like this. With the door now lowered, we have access to these 2 lower bolts now. They do require a 10mm socket. I recommend a deep socket since it makes it a lot easier to remove them. Be very careful when you are removing these bolts. They can easily fall into the socket hole here and be lost to the abyss. So go ahead and remove them gently, either with a finessing outward motion or with a pair of pliers when they get right to the edge here. With the 3 bolts now removed, and this is just floating, we're gonna go ahead and grab the door trim and basically have this part here be hanging on this part. We're not gonna bolt anything back on. We're just gonna have this here so that when we remove it, we have some place for the side mirror to rest on. Now we're gonna need a towel to protect the door. You're going to need to grab one of the mounts in the kit. On the inside, it'll have a D on it, indicating it's for the driver's side. You're also going to need to get your S2, and you're also going to have to cut off the connector at the end due to insufficient clearance to actually route it inside. Don't worry, I did confirm with Baja that removing the connector doesn't affect your warranty, so you're all good there. You're going to want to cut off as close to the connector as possible and then strip back this insulation by about 1 to 1.5 inches to give sufficient length for actual splicing. Okay, go ahead and take the stripped wire and pass it through the mount like this. And it should mount together just like that. There'll be 2 openings here on the right and left side of the mount itself for you to reuse the mounting hardware that came with the S2 to mount it to your new mount. Now that the S2 is installed onto the mount, let's go ahead and put this aside and focus on the side mirror to get ready for installation. So let's go ahead and lift and remove the side mirror. We're going to lift it upwards and towards us. There's a small clip on the inside here which is holding the actual side mirror in place right now. So you may have to wiggle the side mirror a little bit to get it to let go. There we go. And that's the clip I'm referring to. Now let's go ahead and take this guy and put it on the side right here. As for routing the S2's wire, we're gonna follow this gray one that's coming out of the side mirror itself. It'll go here through that opening there and through that grommet in the door here. Our S2 wire will follow that same route. And if you run into a little bit of issue where the mount doesn't seem to want to fit in, it may be because the rear clip here has unlatched. Simply make sure that it's completely level and that this part here is engaged onto the other side. So just press it all the way forward and ensure that it's completely flat. That way, when the mount gets pushed up, there's sufficient clearance for this piece here to go up there. Otherwise, there will be a physical obstruction and you won't be able to mount it. While the mount is dry mounted, go ahead and grab the S2 wire and remove any slack that might be left before you push it through the final grommet. Also, be aware that on the other side here, there is a channel that has to go up through. This is the channel I'm talking about. It's going to have to, these two wires are going to have to pass through this channel here and up to this area to get through that opening. So just be sure that if you're trying to close the side mirror back onto the door and it's not, going flush, it's probably because one of these wires is not actually in the right place and it's being pinched. Go ahead and grab one bolt and the Allen key from the hardware kit, press the mount upwards and then screw that in place. Be careful as you're screwing in the bolts because this is brass threaded inserts, so the stainless steel threads could potentially strip it if you are not careful, or even cross thread it as well. And you don't have to have it too tight, just finger tight is more than sufficient. I've gone ahead and reinstalled one of the three bolts, the top one here, to reinstall the side mirror back onto the door. The bottom two are obstructed by the actual door trim, but luckily since it wasn't clipped back into place, we can simply lift this up and gain access to those bottom two. So now that the door trim is down, we have full access to the bottom two bolts to reinstall the nuts. Also, since the wire harness for the S2 is already here, go ahead and pull any slack out of there so it's fully taut. The side mirror is now fully reinstalled and secured. Let's go ahead and get the door trim back on. So just like before, this top part is going to sit right on here. So we're going to lift it up right above it and then position it so that it is going to slide in right on top like that. There we go. Now, the trick that I have found is instead of pressing everything in, just do this. Grab the door and close it. All of a sudden, everything is now reinstalled again. All the clips are back in place. With the door trim now back in place, go ahead and reinstall the two screws we removed earlier. Once those are back in place, go ahead and reinstall the trim and felt piece that we also removed earlier. Since we already have the front bolts installed, I pushed the side mirror all the way forward so we have access to the rear one. If you notice the threaded insert is not actually aligned with the hole and you can't screw it in, simply take the Allen key, press it through, and then try to adjust where necessary so that the holes do align up. Like there we go. Push it back into its default position, and you're all set. And this concludes the actual mounting of the side mirror ditch light mounts. You'll need to repeat this process on the passenger side, and now let's go ahead and move over to wire and routing. So the first harness we're going to talk about is the switch panel harness, the simpler one of the two. It'll come with two split loom sleeves, which will be used to protect these ends of the harness while it's in the door jamb. We'll talk more about those later. First, we're going to go ahead and talk about the positive and negative terminals here, which will need to be hooked up to the positive and negative of your switch panel. If you're using a kit, then these ring terminals be of use to you because they may actually be utilizing a terminal block or something like that. Otherwise, if you don't need these ring terminals, you're welcome to chop them off and then use the bare copper after you strip the wires to directly splice to your switch panel controller instead. The power layout is perfectly fine. It's still the same. You just got to make sure positive is going here, negative is going here. And then there are also these two pigtails coming off as well. There are two different ones. One is much longer and the other one is much shorter. This means that the shorter one is going to the driver's side and the longer one is going to the passenger side. So you'll be able to tell which one's which pretty quickly. And the black and white actually correlates with the black and white of the S2 light as well. So you just need to pair them up. Then there's the harness for the OEM style switch. There's a positive and negative terminal here, which will go to the positive and negative terminal of your battery. There's also a relay over here and also a adafuse. This adafuse will need to be removed before you actually begin the installation because you cannot pass this through the firewall, at least not easily. So to make life easier, go ahead and remove it. You can add it in after the fact. This over here, green connector, is the connector for your OEM style switch. You'll have to pass this part here directly through it and just pull it straight through. Once it's through, you'll be able to use this connector here and reconnect the adafuse back together here, and you'll need to tap into your tail lights inside the fuse box on the interior. This will allow the backlight to turn on and off with your low beams. And also there's also 2 split looms here, which will help protect these pigtails that will directly connect to your S2 lights. And the black and white wires correspond perfectly with the black and white wires of the S2 light as well. And since there are 2 pairs of black and white wires, one is for the driver's side and one is for the passenger side. The longer one is for the passenger side, the shorter one is for the driver's side. Let's go ahead and open the hood. You're going to need to locate this tab right here, because underneath it is an opening where you can actually pull the wire through like that. And you'll be able to push the shorter of the 2 pigtails through, which will give you access to the next area that we'll need for the routing of this wire. For this next part, make sure the door is open and you'll be going through this opening right here, which will actually poke through the other side. The wire will actually pass through this top part of the fender and come through on the door jamb side over here. It's a very short distance, so you should be able to see it poke through fairly quickly. Now let's go ahead and take the wire harness and the split loom, go ahead and put it through it. Feed it through and push it all the way partially through the fender there. We're gonna need to tape this end off in the future, but we're gonna leave it loose for the time being just so we can determine where we want it placed once everything is finally finished up. And the main purpose of the split loom here is to protect the wire harness from rubbing against this metal portion on the sides here and below. So do try to position it accordingly to give it the most protection it can. Now the split loom's in place, let's go ahead and get the bypass grommet, push it through, and it'll look like that. We're going to go ahead and position it next. We're going to locate the position by going across here. Below, you may find that there is a flat spot right there between the weather stripping. That's where we're looking for. So just push it right between there. And that'll give us our bypass. The 3M can be peeled later. Make sure the area is clean, and then we will just place it right there. And then the wire will then be pulled through, just like that. Now that the wire is pulled through, we can go ahead and grab the S2's wire harness as well as the actual wire harness, match the white to white and black to black, get the 2 provided butt connectors, and splice these together. But before we actually splice, I do want to mention the routing of this wire harness through here. It's not going to go below this, it's actually going to go right here. So the wire is going to come out here from the bypass, go into a little slit that's right there, and then exit out through this opening here. So it should look something like that. And once the pin is placed back in here, it'll actually secure this in place, and the final trim piece being applied will secure everything back in. And once the wire is in this position, we can go ahead and splice everything and then close everything basically back up. There's also going to be a gap right here in the trim piece right here. So you don't actually have to shove everything down. They can actually kind of just stay right here. But you can pull and mess with the length of the actual harness itself to ensure just how much is actually being bundled here. You do want to make sure that the only area that's actually sticking out here is the braided area, as to ensure there isn't going to be any sort of issue with the insulation being braided too much, because this is added protection. And with that, everything is all closed up. We can go ahead and do the same thing on the passenger side, but before we do that, I do want to remind everyone, be sure you tape the actual split loom that you used back here as well, so it isn't just sliding around. And for those with an OEM style switch, you're going to have to access that grommet there to bypass the firewall to get your switch into the cabin. And like I mentioned during the breakdown of the wire harnesses, you will need to remove this added fuse in order to get through that grommet. Technically you can still push it through, but it's going to be really hard too, so just go ahead and remove it like that and tape this off, preferably to like a stick or whatever you can to pull through that grommet, and it should just come straight through like that. And the OEM style harness comes with both a backlit switch and the relay harness to use it.